and it's time to hear it again. The answers to our problems comes from within. Well, it's love. The games of tomorrow, they seem worse than before. Living conditions won't always be walking in the moment, no, we're living in the day.
Has been written about British and Irish slaves being sent off to the New World, and although sometimes they're called indentured servants, this is true for some of them, but others it's hard to argue that they weren't slaves. After all, in 1618 King James wrote to Thomas Smith telling him to round up all the idle youth in England and send them off to Virginia. But I'm going to talk about a different slave trade, one that existed before the Norman conquest, and this might not come as a surprise to anyone who knows the story of St. Patrick. After all, he was a Welshman brought to Ireland as a slave, and many cities along the west coast of England were important slaving markets. As Malmesbury, for instance, said he went to Bristol and saw hordes of people all roped together and ready to be sold here in Ireland. Now, it was probably Dublin that they were sold to. After all, it had become an important trading centre after the Vikings were there. The Vikings did take Irish people as slaves and send them elsewhere, but they also brought foreigners in, and the market was largely propped up by the Anglo-Saxons, who, according to some historians, had enslaved about 10 to 20% of the population. And in the Anglo-Saxon chronicles, there are numerous mentions of people being enslaved. For instance, in 1052, Harold Godwinson, the future King Harold Godwinson, returned from exile here in Ireland, and he raided the coast of Somerset, taking with him cattle, property and people. It seems that many people might have lived in fear of just randomly being surprised in their coastal towns and captured and shipped off to Ireland as slaves. Now, it should be said that slavery did predate the Anglo-Saxons in Britain, but the Romans often criticised the British slaves for not being well versed in music, and when building Hadrian's Wall they used their own soldiers. So it wasn't to the same scale in Roman times as what it was in Anglo-Saxon times.
Walking in the moment, you know we're living in the day. Sharing of true love, you can feel it on your way. Foundations are heard of, you know you just can't be the top. The time has arisen to harvest our crops.